In the quiet woods of Spring City, Pennsylvania, lies the crumbling shell of a place meant to help the helpless, but instead, it became a symbol of silence, suffering, and survival. Behind these decaying red brick walls lived thousands of forgotten souls, locked away, misunderstood, and often mistreated. This is the story of Pennhurst, where the walls whispered secrets, and the system failed those it was supposed to protect. Before we begin this powerful journey, please consider subscribing and liking this video, not just for the algorithm, but to help more people uncover the truth about places the world tried to forget. Let their stories be heard. It began with good intentions. In 1908, Pennhurst State School and Hospital was opened by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It was supposed to be a haven, a place for people with mental and physical disabilities to live, learn, and be cared for with dignity. But by the 1920s, the vision had already started to rot. Doctors and staff, influenced by the era's obsession with eugenics, began labeling the residents as defective, imbeciles, and even threats to society. Children as young as 3 were institutionalized, not for crimes, but for simply being born different. Pennhurst was overrun, overcrowded, and understaffed, designed to house 500 residents. It soon held more than 3,500. Hallways meant for freedom became cages. Hope became horror. Imagine being born into a world that immediately deems you broken. Now imagine being locked away for it, often for life. At Pennhurst, residents were stripped of their rights. They were often left unclothed, untreated, and unheard. Many were nonverbal or unable to advocate for themselves. Institutional labor was common. Residents were forced to work in the farm, kitchen, laundry, and even the hospital wards, unpaid. Their days were filled with routine, punishment, silence, and fear. Abuse was common. Compassion was rare. In the underground tunnels, orderlies moved bodies, both living and dead, from ward to ward. A system meant for care became a machine of quiet neglect. If this story moves you even a little, I ask you again, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, because stories like these aren't just haunted history, they're lessons we must never forget. Everything changed in 1968. A young investigative journalist named Bill Baldini aired a 5-part documentary on local TV called Suffer the Little Children. The footage shocked the world. What people saw were children rocking in corners, adults strapped to beds, cries echoing down sterile halls. One resident begged the reporter, "Get me out of here." The public and the government could no longer look away. Then came the lawsuit. In 1974, Terry Lee Holderman, a former resident, filed a federal class action suit against Pennhurst. The case would change everything. In 1978, a judge ruled that conditions at Pennhurst violated the residents' constitutional rights. It became a landmark case for disability rights in America. Pennhurst officially closed its doors on December 9, 1987. Over 1,100 residents were moved into smaller, community-based care homes. The era of mass institutionalization had finally begun to end, thanks in part to the brave souls who spoke out from within. But the scars remain. The buildings stand, decaying, haunted, and not just by ghosts, but by truth. Today, Pennhurst is partially preserved. Some of the buildings now host historical tours and paranormal events, but preservationists fight to ensure the legacy of Pennhurst isn't turned into cheap thrills, because this place was never fiction. It was real, and it's a story we all must carry. Pennhurst isn't just a horror story. It's a mirror, a reminder of what happens when we forget empathy, when we label others as less than human. To this day, survivors of Pennhurst and their families continue to fight for justice, memory, and reform in disability care. Their courage has reshaped laws, attitudes, and awareness. Thank you for walking through this story with me. If you made it this far, you're part of something important. Please like this video so more people can learn about Pennhurst. Subscribe for more true stories, not just the haunted, but the human. And above all, never forget the voices that were once silenced. They're finally being heard.